أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah reward you all for attending today, for coming out and braving this fine Bradford weather that we've got. And as well, I'd like to thank the brothers for inviting the three of us up here to, inshallah, give you guys some perspective on some of our experiences and what happened to us, the reasons why we became Muslim, but most importantly that, inshallah, I pray that there's some benefit that's taken from this and that the brothers and sisters can reflect on what we have to say, inshallah. Now, to begin with my journey to Islam, I actually want to start with the end of my journey to Islam, which is when I took the Shahada. And I want to take you back almost 4 years to the 24th of April 2009. That was a Friday, that was the night I took my Shahada. The feeling of becoming Muslim, from coming out of Kufr and into Islam, is not something that, as I'm sure the brothers on stage will agree, is not something you can describe. That already when you take your Shahada, you've had a shower already, you're clean, you're pure, your clothes are completely clean. But that's nothing compared to when you actually say those words and the entire weight of the world is lifted from your shoulders, never to come back again. Now, when that happened, I'd never felt anything like that, and I literally couldn't believe how I felt. That I felt as though I'd never been a non-Muslim. And I still have that feeling today. I can't actually remember how it felt to be a non-Muslim. I feel like I've been Muslim my entire life. Now, when I got home from taking the Shahada, and this was a mistake on my part, and I maintain it to this day, it was my fault, but I hadn't actually discussed with my parents or my older brother about the fact that I was considering Islam or that I wanted to become a Muslim. So to them, when I came home, I said, I've got some news for you, I've got a bit of a surprise for you. And subhanAllah, what a surprise it was, that I told them I'd become Muslim, and their initial response was, okay, it's a bit strange. I was an atheist before this. We'll get to that, inshallah. They said, okay, that's a bit strange. But they said, if that's your decision, then that's your decision. So I thought, okay, well that's good, I've told them now. And that was the end of that. I went to sleep, and I woke up the next morning and went to work. And I was at work all day, a lot of Muslims who worked there. MashaAllah, they all came up, congratulated me, they heard the news. And then when I got back from work, I came back to my house, and all the lights were switched off. And I thought, that's strange, because I know everybody's in, the cars are outside. So I went in, hello, is anybody there? Nobody there. Went upstairs, and what I found was the three of them sat there in the dark, and they said, right, we want to talk to you. And I thought, right, okay, I know what's coming. And so there it was. Who have you been talking to? Give us names. Who are these people? Why have you done this? You've betrayed us. And it went on and on. It got worse and worse and worse, to the point where they were saying, you're not one of us, you've betrayed us. My mum even said, I wish you'd come home and told me you were gay, rather than you've come home and told me you're Muslim. And it got so bad that I thought, well, look, she said basically, get out of the house. Emotional, you know. At the time, my response was, look, okay, I'm just going to have to do what they say. So I started packing my bags in my bedroom. I started putting everything in, and as I'm doing this, the door was locked, and I could hear my mum screaming and crying and banging on the door outside. And that was when it hit me that, remember, I haven't even been a Muslim for 24 hours at this point. This is when it hits me that, okay, have I made a mistake? My mum is literally screaming and my family are in tears. Maybe I've done the wrong thing here. All those guys I've been talking to about Islam and stuff, it's not too late for me to just walk away. I can just turn around and say, I made a mistake, look, forget it. So as I'm packing my bags, I start to think that, okay, I need to be sure that this is definitely right. And so in my head then, I retraced my journey to Islam. Now, really it goes back to my childhood that we were brought up in a Christian family. We were Methodist Christians. And for us, religion was 2 hours in Sunday school, and that was it. And the only reason we were required to go to Sunday school is because my parents wanted me to go to Church of England school, and you had to have like 300 hours worth of time in Sunday school in order to get into this Church of England school. So we did that, and that was it. I never went into a church again once I got into this school, which kind of shows how important religion was in our family. It was just something you said. It didn't actually have any impact on the way that we lived our lives, or what we thought about the world or our place in it, or even where we took right and wrong from. We just decided it ourselves, essentially. What God and what Jesus had to say and what the Bible had to say, that was just Sunday school. Forget it, it's not important outside of that. That was the attitude we had. Now, as I mentioned, I got into this school, so I'm a teenager now, growing up. And as I look around me and I start to see, we have to sing hymns every morning, there was communion every few weeks, and I started to question it and think, why is it that people are doing this? What is the reason that they feel compelled to go and do this? Do they even know? So I started to ask people, do you know that God exists? Can you prove that Jesus was the Son of God? What about the Bible? Do you know that it's right? And the response I got every time was either detention or you can't ask these questions. You just have to believe in it. God says it, you just have to believe in it. And I thought, well, wait, if you've got no proof for it, if you don't know that this is true, then why are you following it? Why are you, I thought, wasting your time on these things? So age 11, I became an atheist. And I thought, these people, they don't know what they're talking about. And I thought I was so smart, because I'd figured it out and they were still ignorant. So then I spent the rest of my teenage years and my college years and early uni telling people that they were wrong. That God doesn't exist, there's nothing out there. There's no such thing as right or wrong. You do what you want. Because if God's not there, there's no heaven or hell. There's no criteria for what's right or what's wrong. And that was the way I lived my life. And I'll tell you, brothers, if you grow up as a teenager with no definition of right or wrong, you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want, because who's there to account you? Somebody, my mum or dad, they'd say something to me. Who are you? There's no such thing as right or wrong. How can you tell me that I'm wrong? And this was the attitude, subhanAllah, that I grew up with. Now, it's interesting, isn't it, that when I became Muslim, there was an issue with that. Yet, when I had that viewpoint on the world prior, there was no issue, there was no problem. They knew I was an atheist before. So when I graduate from university, this is when it really hits me now. I've grown up this whole time thinking that, look, I can do whatever I want. There is no right, there is no wrong. And then all of a sudden, I'm out of education and I'm into the big wide world around me. And I stopped and reflected at that point and I thought, look, is this all there is to life? That I'm just maximizing my time, trying to enjoy myself, but really inside you don't feel content when you do that. Because imagine traveling without a map. All you'll do is just wander to different places, you'll just check different things out, try different things, but you're never really going anywhere. You never really achieve anything. And this was the feeling I had that, okay, yeah, whether it's drinks, drugs, girls, partying, whatever, even university, academically, whatever, you've done that, move on. But you start to run out of things to do, and you start to question it. And when I left university, this is when I questioned it. That is that all there is to life now? I go out, I get a job, 9 to 5 it for 50 years, and then I die? Maybe have kids? Is that it? That's all I've got to look forward to? Because if that's all there is, then I'm not that interested, to be honest. That was what I thought. I'm not that interested. If that's all life amounts to, if that's all everyone who's ever left university, who's ever grown up, if that's all they've ever done, then what am I going to add to that? I'm not going to add anything new to it. What's the point? So I got this now is summer 2008 when I graduate from university, and I'm thinking then, okay, I need to be absolutely certain that what I believe is actually true. So I started to look into different things, different views on life, which, you know, was Christianity. I had another look at Christianity, had a look at a few other things, Buddhism and things like that. And never occurred to me to look at Islam. Never once. Never thought. I just saw Muslims and I thought, okay, yeah, Muslims. The thought that I would ever be a Muslim was ridiculous, to be honest. It could never have happened, subhanAllah. And so what had happened was, some of the brothers in the audience might get jealous when I say this, but when I went to university, the fees were only £1,200 a year. So I paid for it myself. I got a weekend job and I was able to pay for it myself. Alhamdulillah, no debt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected me even before I became Muslim. If I had done, I would have taken the Shahada and been thousands of pounds in debt. But that wasn't the case. So I managed to pay for university myself. That weekend job, there were a lot of Muslims who worked in that place. In total, who worked there were about 1,000 people, and 75% easily was Muslim. So a minimum 750 people who worked there were Muslims. And during my time there, I'd made a lot of friends, and, you know, we'd had discussions and debates, and like I say, I thought I was so smart. And there were brothers there who used to come to work reeking of attar. I didn't even know what attar was at the time. I used to think, that guy's wearing perfume. And there were people who came, they'd come fully dressed in the thobe, they had big beards. In that whole time I was there, guess how many people